All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're unpacking the secret weapon of the world's clearest thinkers. And I'm telling you, this isn't just about making better presentations. This is about completely upgrading your entire mental operating system. So let's get into it.
Ever been there? You're in a meeting, you're explaining your big project, you're super passionate about it, but you look across the table and you can just see your boss's eyes glazing over. They interrupt you with questions, they get lost in the details, and your brilliant idea just fizzles out. Yeah, it's a pretty soul-crushing experience, right? But here's the thing. It's probably not about your ideas. It's about your structure.
So what if I told you that the most persuasive people on the planet, I'm talking elite consultants, Amazon execs, the most popular TED speakers, they all use the same fundamental framework to organize their thoughts. It's called the pyramid principle. And it's not some clever little trick, it's a proven mental blueprint for achieving absolute clarity, especially in this world of just overwhelming information.
Ready to build your own pyramid of logic? Well, it all starts with a rock-solid foundation. We're about to walk through the 4 golden rules that are the bedrock of this entire way of thinking. You get these right, and trust me, everything else just falls perfectly into place.
Okay, so why does this even work? Well, it's actually rooted in our own biology. A Harvard psychologist named George Miller discovered that our short-term memory is, frankly, a startlingly small bucket. It can only hold about 7 items at a time, give or take 2. And once you go past that number, your audience's brain just crashes. So the pyramid principle is specifically designed to respect this cognitive bottleneck, grouping ideas so the brain can process them almost effortlessly.
The thing you have to understand is that our brains are pattern-making machines. They absolutely hate chaos. Just like the ancient Greeks looked up at a bunch of scattered stars and saw constellations, our minds are constantly, compulsively trying to group random information into logical patterns. So the key here is, this method isn't forcing your brain into some rigid box. It's more like a judo move for your mind. It aligns with how you're already hardwired to work most efficiently.
And here they are, the 4 pillars of your pyramid. First, and this is the big one, start with the conclusion. Give the answer first. Don't bury the lead. Second, the above-below relationship. This just means any idea in your pyramid has to be a summary of the ideas grouped right underneath it. Third, group similar ideas. Pretty straightforward. Every point within a single group has to be the same kind of idea. And fourth, logical order. You have to arrange the ideas in each group in a deliberate sequence. Maybe it's chronological, maybe it's structural, or maybe it's by order of importance. Okay, so once you've laid that foundation, it's time to build the rest of the structure. And to do that, we need some powerful tools. These are the advanced techniques that take a simple, logical argument and turn it into a persuasive masterpiece. Let's see how this whole thing builds.
Now, check this out. The SQCA framework, this is your secret weapon for basically any introduction you'll ever have to make. You start with the situation, a stable, agreed-upon fact that gets everybody in the room nodding along. Then you hit them with the complication, the but or the however, that shatters that stable situation and creates real tension. This naturally leads your audience to the question, so what do we do about this? And boom, that's when you deliver the answer, which conveniently is the main point of your entire pyramid.
Next up in your toolkit is MEAS. Think of MEAS as the quality inspector for your thoughts. It means your supporting points should be like perfect pizza slices. Each one is separate with no overlap. That's the mutually exclusive part. And together, all the slices make up the entire pizza with nothing missing. That's the collectively exhaustive part. This isn't just about being neat, it's about making sure your logic is absolutely watertight, leaving zero room for those, yeah, but what about questions.
So, how do you arrange ideas within those perfect MEASy groups? Well, you've got 2 main options. Deductive reasoning is that pure logical chain. If A is true, then B must be true. And if B is true, then C must be true. It's airtight for sure, but it can also feel a little robotic. Inductive reasoning, on the other hand, is when you group similar points together, like say 3 different market trends, to reveal a single overarching insight. And honestly, in most business communication, induction just feels more natural and is often way more persuasive. Building a strong pyramid is one thing, but you also have to know how to avoid blowing it up. There are a few really common pitfalls. Think of them as intellectual landmines that can completely undermine even the most well-intentioned argument. So let's take a look at the risks. This slide here lays out the 3 most common death traps that can totally destroy your logical pyramid. Remember, the strength of your argument is only as strong as its weakest link, so we need to make sure every single part is solid. We're going to break down correct nonsense, flawed internal logic, and visual recitation to make sure your pyramid always stands tall.
The first, and honestly the most common trap, is what the source material calls correct nonsense. This is when you start a point by saying something like, "There are 3 reasons we're facing challenges." That tells your audience absolutely nothing. A powerful, what you might call a soul-filled summary, reveals the meaning. For example, "We are currently facing unprecedented market competition." You see the difference? One is a lazy, empty label, the other is a real insight. It's night and day.
The second trap is just having flawed logic inside your pyramid. Your points aren't Mies, or you've put them in a totally random order. These are subtle cracks that a sharp audience will definitely spot. And the third trap, which we see here, is death by PowerPoint, or what we'll call visual recitation. A slide is not a teleprompter. You are the star of the show. Aim for the 90-10 rule, 90% visuals, 10% text. And critically, your chart title shouldn't just say Q4 sales data. It has to state the conclusion you want people to draw. Q4 sales surged by 50%, a new annual high.
Now, this isn't just for boardrooms and business reports. The real power of this mental model is that you can use it anywhere. Let's look at how you can apply these principles to clarify your thinking in your daily life, like starting right now.
Got a tricky email to send to your boss? Use SCQA. Situation: our project was all set for a November 1st launch. Complication: however, yesterday we discovered a critical bug in the payment system. The implied question is, okay, so how do we fix this? And your answer: therefore, I recommend we delay the launch by 2 weeks to ensure a flawless release. It's clear, it's professional, and it's totally solution-oriented.
Planning a birthday party? You know that messy to-do list with overlapping categories like food and activities? That's just a recipe for disaster. Apply Misi to it. Break it down into clean, mutually exclusive categories: food, venue, entertainment. All of a sudden, no overlaps, no gaps. Your chaotic list just became a clear, actionable plan.
You can even use this on your own mind. We all get that vague, overwhelming feeling of anxiety sometimes, right? But the pyramid structure can help you deconstruct it. The top of the pyramid is your core fear. I'm afraid of losing my job. Then you just ask why to build the layer underneath. Because I lose my income. Okay, why? Because I'm worried my skills are becoming outdated. And just like that, a massive, overwhelming fear becomes a structured, solvable problem. I need to update my skills.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. Just look at Amazon. They famously banned PowerPoint presentations in their executive meetings. Instead, leaders have to write these structured, narrative-style memos that always start with the conclusion. It's the pyramid principle, hardwired right into the culture of one of the most successful companies in the world.
So you see, this is so much more than just a communication trick. This is about installing a permanent upgrade to the way you think. It's about becoming a clear thinker for life, somebody who can cut through all the noise and find the signal in any situation.
Now, it's really important to separate this from another vital skill, critical thinking. Think of it this way. Critical thinking is a defensive tool. It helps you spot the flaws and holes in other people's arguments. The pyramid principle, on the other hand, is an offensive tool. It teaches you how to proactively build your own argument so that it has no flaws to find in the first place. You really need both to be a master of thought.
But here's a really cool side effect, something you might not expect. Once this structure is burned into your brain, you become an incredible listener. When someone else is rambling, being all disorganized, your mind will automatically start reverse engineering what they're saying, finding their hidden pyramid, and grasping their core message even when they can't seem to express it clearly themselves.
The universe naturally tends toward chaos, toward entropy. But the pyramid principle, well, that's your anti-entropy weapon. It's your personal tool to fight back against the chaos of information overload, to transform all that mental clutter into clear, powerful, and orderly thought crystals.
By mastering this one principle, you're not just learning to communicate better, you are literally learning to think better. You're building a framework that's going to bring clarity and power to every single aspect of your professional and personal life. So the question isn't, can you do it? It's, what are you going to build first?